Hello, everybody. Welcome to Hawkwind's Radio Picture Show. My name is Jack Dwyer.
And I'm Jay Smooth.
We have a great show for you guys today. A very spooky show, if you will. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to play some music. We're going to talk about some fun stuff. Jay, how have you been, brother? What's new with you these days?
I've been chilling, man. I've been not much, man. I've just been getting ready for the show.
Summertime chilling.
Summertime chilling, man. It was kind of rainy yesterday, and I rode my bike a little bit, but I almost slipped and crashed into a car.
Yikes.
But nothing happened. So
You wear a helmet, right?
No.
Bro. Try not to mess up those Goldilocks ears, I guess. No, you should always wear a helmet. Always wear a helmet. You are up to some other stuff, though, because... so, go ahead.
I was going to say, who in Chicago that rides a bike wears a helmet?
The ones who have their brains intact.
Oh, God, that's true. Well...
Sometimes. I'll go sometimes without it, but you should always be prepared. You never
Safety
know.
first, children.
Safety first, kids. But we also have some other cool stuff in the works right now. Hawk Winds is about to do a live show in the next coming months, so stay tuned for that. Me and Jay are looking at venues right now. We got a couple intact right now, and we're ideally looking to host a cool live event so we can bring you nice folks out to come check out the show, check out some musicians and some entertainers. We hope a lot of our friends who we've interviewed come out and check it out. So
anybody interested in performing, please send us a DM.
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook, anywhere.
Or even if you're interested in being featured on the podcast here, just drop us a line, let us know. We love to feature Chicago artists of all different mediums. And speaking of artists of all different mediums, wink, wink, see what I did there? we have an incredible artist today in the house tonight, Heather Haxa, the space witch goddess herself. Everybody, round
Priestess.
of applause. Oh, the
Priestess, not goddess.
My apologies.
Close enough.
Did you pull that off ChatGPT? Because we did. Well, Heather, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Now, for those of who are just tuning into the show, how would you define yourself? If you were to define yourself in 5 words?
As Heather or Haxa?
Both.
Well, they're two different things.
How would you define yourself personally, and then how would you define yourself as your stage persona?
Personally, autistic, Alaskan, atheist, witch, singer, producer. I should change that to producer because I don't just sing. Haxa is from the future, from the year 3372 or something like that. In a time when nature is the only thing that is sacred because there's very little of it left. So I created like this world for that character. It's based on a book that my husband and I started writing when we first met, and then it kind of progressed into the character.
Now, your style is so cool because, you know, when I saw your image for the first time, I was like, I saw like my ancient ancestors blessing upon me with their pagan culture. I was like, this is beautiful. This is so cool. I'm so glad you're into this. Can you tell us a little bit what brought you into this idea in this world, and what would you want the listeners to know about pagan culture, witchcraft, and being a musician through it all too? I mean, that's incredible to tie all those together.
So the pagan element kind of happened organically because I was starting to explore like becoming a witch or being a witch or practicing witchcraft, which is really just spicy psychology. And it's all about, you know, understanding yourself better and connecting with the universe and people around you. But I was listening to a lot of synthwave, and I was also listening to a lot of stuff from like the TV show Vikings, which is kind of like Viking recreation. So Wardruna is one of the bands that I listen to a lot. And I was like, how can I put these two things together? And then as my husband and I started writing this story that will eventually become a book, I formed this character, and the music kind of came out of that. And I actually forgot what you asked me.
Hey, no, I think you hit it right on the head with what I asked. You know, that's so cool because a lot of people that we bring up on the show, they'll talk about how they have this on-stage persona to their own personal persona. You know, is there a way that you kind of hang up the hat at the end of the night and separate the two, or do you like to think that you bleed through both of them?
They're both me. The Hexa persona, the Hexa character, is definitely a much more like confident, self-assured, part of me that I aspire to have those qualities all the time. And in being a leader of a community, I feel like the term priestess works really well. And I didn't start calling myself a priestess until I had a community, but I always kind of thought that way. Mm-hmm. And the music is really just a way to try to draw people into this world that I want to create, and this space that I want to be, safe and inclusive for everyone, and to have an emotional experience, whether it's cathartic or joyful or whatever it is.
Now, priestess is a pretty cool title. What separates a witch to a priestess? Is she just the head witch, or
a priestess is just a leader? And it doesn't even necessarily have to have a religious connotation. It can just be someone that is a leader of people and happens to be usually female, whether you're a femme appearing or a femme passing or presenting or whatever. I guess anyone could be a priestess. It doesn't have to be a gendered thing. I hadn't thought of that. But I present female, and I mostly feel female, so I feel like that word works for me.
We were asking earlier before the show got started, because Jay wanted to know what's the male equivalent to a witch, and I thought it was a warlock, but you corrected me on that.
I don't know. I know that there's some people have issues with that word, and I don't quite know why. I don't remember. I know I've read about it, but I don't remember why.
Maybe
but
it's the war and the lock. It sounds constricting and violent.
I want to say it has something to do with the binary nature and the fact that life isn't binary. People aren't only binary. So a lot of people just want to be called a witch, regardless of their gender or their expression or whatever. But I would have to look it up. Why warlock is not preferred with some people.
But wizard works, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wizard's a good one. Would you rather be called a warlock or a wizard, Jay?
Honestly, wizard.
Wizard? You
I'm
look
the
like
wizard
more
king.
like a warlock to me. But
What does that mean, huh?
bro, you don't have hangy sleeves. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah. A wizard has to wear a robe. A warlock does not.
What does a warlock wear? What's the...
A funny hat.
Funny hat. You wear a lot of hats.
I wear a lot of funny hats.
Oh, maybe you are a warlock after
I'm
all.
for sure
There
a
you
warlock,
go.
I think. Like I said, tapping into the whole pagan culture thing too. We're talking about. Correct me on the name of it, of the writing that we were talking about with when it comes to Norse mythology or paganism.
Oh, runes?
Runes. Yeah, we're talking about runes, and maybe can you tell us a little bit about the runes that you depict through your makeup?
Does that have anything to do with RuneScape, the game?
Probably, but I don't know. I haven't played that game. I've played Borderlands, and I've played a lot of Mortal Kombat. I play the games that my son likes to play, pretty much. So I haven't played RuneScape. Runes are originally meant to be, they were just an alphabet that, the pre-Christian era Vikings, if you will, in the Norse, Scandinavian areas, they used to communicate with. And then they came to take on more meaning over time because someone, and of course you ask me these questions that I haven't rehearsed for. No, it's fine. Someone wrote a poem for each of the runes later, and that sort of expanded on their meaning. So some people view runes as being inherently spiritual, which they can be if that's how you want to take them, but they can also be just an alphabet.
And I didn't know that there was you were saying that there's a song and a rhyme to every rune that there is, which can you tell us a little bit about that?
So each rune has a poem that was written about it and just tells a specific story about whatever, characteristics or ideology that rune represents.
So when you do your makeup, do you have your runes picked out in a row of which ones you wanted to depict?
What I like to do is I do a lot of things intuitively where I'll just pick something and then I'll look up what it means later. So usually when I do a show, I just pick the runes that I think will look cool. And then a lot of times after the fact, I'll go back and look at them and say, oh, this actually was a message for me and I didn't realize it.
That's cool.
Kind of like just, if you're just walking through a forest or something and you notice a tree branch that's shaped like a specific rune, you're noticing it because your brain is seeking that out. So then I would go back to the house and look up what that thing means, which is a little bit backwards. Like some people prefer to look for the thing first, but I don't know. That's just what I do.
That's very cool. You know, your look is so cool. Can we talk about your look on stage? And Jay, can we pull up a photo of it?
Yeah, I'm
too?
sorry that I didn't do the antlers or anything for today.
No, it's all. You know,
Very low on spoons.
we really we really appreciate you just being you on this too. You know, it's a great way for folks to get to know just genuinely who you are as a person. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Can you talk to us a little bit about this look right there and what you were doing, what you were thinking?
I trigger warning, period blood. I have endometriosis, and I had been in a really bad flare-up that day. So after that shoot, I went to a studio. I shot with a photographer who was fantastic. He did a great job. And I couldn't walk for almost a week afterwards because I was very ambitious. I was like laying on the stairs and like crawling on the floor and all over the place. And then I was in a lot of pain the next day.
It's a great shot too. It's great lighting.
But it was really fun. The studio that we went to has like 6 different rooms. So there was one that had like neon lights. They have a rain room. They had one with the ivy kind of wall, and that was my favorite.
Remember what the studio was called? If it had a name. No.
I know I'm so sorry to my friend, the photographer, whose name I also can't remember because that's what my brain does. I will tag them later. Yeah. I've tagged them in some posts before, but yeah, it was
down in the description.
It's actually fairly close to here, I want to say.
Huh. Now, your look is so cool. Where did you get your horns from? Did you grow those naturally, or?
I wish. So in the future world that Haxa comes from, people can grow animal appendages or take animal DNA if they want to. So Haxa did grow those antlers herself. I got them from Amazon. It's funny because people ask me, where did you get them? They're so cool. And I'm like, they were like $11.99. And I haven't even put glitter on them or anything.
There's a large market out there for horns. You'd be surprised. I was at the Ren Fair 2 weeks ago, and I was this close to getting myself some horns. I was like,
you should. It will make you feel very powerful.
I bet.
Guarantee it.
You're like a 8-point buck in there. How many points do you got on your horns?
Oh, it's only 6. So, wait, no, it might be 8. You're right, it might be 8.
You're an 8-point buck. Hey, look at you. Now, mythical creatures are a really fun topic to talk about when it comes to fantasy worlds and mythological beasts. If you had a mythological creature for a pet, which pet or which mythical creature would you have?
Well, I had 2 when I was a child. Because I lived in Alaska, my backyard was basically the wilderness. There was this one tree that had like a little thing of this like roots, kind of depression in the ground, and I would go hang out there. And I had a unicorn friend, and I had an albino tiger friend.
And you had a unicorn friend?
Yep.
Where did this unicorn friend come from?
My imagination.
But like,
no, they were just there in the forest. And when we moved away, I was very sad because I couldn't take them with me.
Oh.
And then you had another friend?
The albino tiger.
Albino tiger. Did they have names?
Probably, but I don't remember them now. I don't have a lot of childhood memories, actually. Trauma.
Did you ever have a childhood like imaginary pet? Because I sure did.
Maybe. I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
Dude,
Did you have real pets?
I had real pets. Yeah, I had a black and white cat named Princess for a while, and I mostly had cats growing up. Yeah. What about you, man? What's your imaginary friend's name?
Hey, now.
Carl.
Carl. Yeah, it's Jeffrey. No, yeah, I had a dog growing up and fish, but I had one of my favorite stories growing up was I had this dream. It was such a vivid dream that a tiger was in my closet, and he reminded me of this tiger. I never really actually gave him a name, but it was like such a vivid dream that this thing was like in my closet, and I had to like close it and like lock the door and lock him in there. And there were some nights where I just would not go to sleep, and I would cry to my parents. I'm like, there's a tiger in my closet. And they're like, it's okay. We called Brookfield Zoo. They came to pick him up. The tiger was safely transported. No worries.
That's amazing.
You can go visit him anytime, but the tiger's out. The tiger's
Good
out of the
parenting.
closet. Yeah. And I think from that point on, I was like, I'm destined to be an entertainer. This is it. Tiger's out. Here we go.
Tiger's blood, Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, right. No, mythical creatures are fun though. It's cool to I have this idea that animals of fantastic abilities can exist or did exist. Like dragons for sure
Do
existed.
you have a favorite
you know?
mythical creature?
Favorite?
Yeah.
Probably it would probably be a Pegasus because they're the ones with the wings. They don't have a
yeah.
horn. And I like the flying thing. Horses were my favorite animal for a long time. I had horses, and my sister still trains, so it would have to be one of the horse creatures, but probably Pegasus because I like the flying.
What about you, Jack? You
Fly
got
a
one?
lot.
Phoenix. I love the phoenix.
I was
The
gonna say, yeah,
symbolism.
That's a good one.
This is
Same thing
cool.
for me. Phoenixes are cool.
Yeah. How about you?
Oh shit, man. I mean, do dragons count?
Yeah,
for
hell
sure.
yeah.
Dragons were real though. I think they were just like birds that like never like died off with the dinosaurs because they can fly, and they weren't.
Well, birds are dinosaurs.
birds
They're
of
the
prey.
last living relatives of dinosaurs.
What about turtles?
They're dinosaurs. So are alligators.
I
And
think turtles
crocodiles and
came
snapping
came
turtles.
from a different branch. Like they're not even related to birds or lizards.
They're the androids of dinosaurs. Just kidding.
Yeah. Like, sorry, wrong charger plug. You didn't get wings this time, kid. Better luck next time. But very cool.
But you grew up in Alaska?
Yep.
Okay, so that's where they have like 30 days of night or something like that?
If you're up above the Arctic Circle, yes, it does. There is a period of time where it's dark all the time, but as you get closer to the like south central area where most of the population lives, it's not as drastic. It's not as dramatic. You'll get like 4 hours of sunlight in the winter, and then it gradually gets, the days get longer and longer, and then in the summer, it doesn't get all the way dark, so you have to put tinfoil on your windows so you can sleep at night.
So, and then you moved from Alaska to Chicago, or how was that transition from like doing that
Minnesota,
to like kind of like normal?
and then California, and then Indiana, and then Chicago. Moved around a bit.
So you had to get used to like the long, short days to like the, I guess, I wouldn't say regular days, but like, we have.
I feel like that fucked up my sleep schedule for the rest of my life.
Did it feel like jet lag?
I
Like
cannot.
permanent?
It's really hard for me to function on Central Time. Eastern Time would be impossible.
Jesus.
Like I need to move further west for the sake of my body and my sanity. It's hard to wake up at 8 a.m. Central Time, which is 4 a.m. Alaska time.
What the-
Gosh, I couldn't do that with all the sun like that. That's insane. Do you have any pets now? Speaking of pets, you want to give
Yep.
a shout out to your pets?
I have a rescue pit bull. He is very sweet with people, but he is not safe with other animals. So he's an only child by necessity. We tried having a kitten. It did not go well. Kitten's fine. But I thought a kitten would be less threatening, but then I realized that because he was a kitten and he wasn't declawed, he was very like liberal with his clawing, and my dog did not respond well to that. So he went to another home, and I have the dog now. But he's so high maintenance. I think he was literally just tied up in someone's like lot, like a cement lot, because when I got him, he was afraid of the coffee maker. He was afraid of the dishwasher. I don't think he had ever been in a house before. He played with rocks. Like he didn't know how to play with a toy when I got him.
Oh. And
So
what's his name?
Dante,
Dante.
because he went through hell.
Oh.
Say the pit bull.
But like he is very, very high maintenance. I can't board him when I go on vacation. Someone has to come stay in the house, and like he's always constantly. He's on Prozac now, which is barely helping. So I actually might become a cat person after this because it's a lot of work. It's
I
like
don't
harder
know.
than having a kid.
My cat's
Honestly.
on anti-anxiety right now too.
God.
What's with all these animals getting anxiety these days? You
it's
know,
hard, man, being an animal.
it's hard being a human, dude.
It's hard
Like,
being a human having to take care of an animal.
yeah, it's a lot of work. I didn't
That's
know.
why cats are cool.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a therapy dog, and it turns out he's the one that needs therapy more than me.
Right.
Oh man.
Ditto. Same.
Well,
with my
I
pet.
do. I do advocate for people adopting dogs or pets in general instead of like getting them from like breeders or something, because there's so many people
There's
that
so
get
many.
pets for like a year or two as like presents, and then they can't take care of them and they give them out and then they get euthanized. It's like, oh man, you know.
Yeah. Paw Chicago, shout out. Yeah.
True. They got those free adoption days.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. That's how my brother got his dog. It's half German Shepherd, half something. His name is Jack Daniels.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, he was rescued from a farm in Alabama.
Oh. Oh. I wish I had a good heroic rescue story, but my dog was
It's
from
not
a
too late.
breeder. I like to say my dog rescued me.
Aw.
So, you know.
Would you ever consider getting a little brother or sister for Harpo?
Harpo's got an older brother right now who's a cat named Draco. Draco's got bad anxiety, dude. Draco's an old man and he has a narrow urethra like Hank Hill. So like he has a hard time peeing. Yeah, he's good, you know. Harpo's good though. Harpo's my dog. She's 6 years old, little Boston Terrier. So no, she's good.
They have so much personality.
They're clown dogs. They're
Yeah.
the best. But I was set on the name and the breed for the longest time, though. You know, I was like, you know, if I was gonna get a dog, I was like, it was gonna have to be that, because I grew up with a boxer, which are like larger, like bully breeds.
Yep.
And I'm like, I live in Chicago. I need like the compact city size.
But you still
know?
have personality.
Yeah, you know. So she's like 50% dog and 50% accessory. You know.
That's a real Chicago thing.
Yeah.
Did you see in New York they said that the only dogs that would be allowed on subways are if they fit in a bag? So people are like making these giant bags to take their,
my
you know,
God.
100-pound dog on the subway.
I've seen
believe that.
You see these IKEA bags? They're like cutting out the legs for them.
No, really?
They'll bring up. Shout out IKEA. We were talking about Sweden earlier. Love you, IKEA. If you could sponsor us, that'd be great. They're cutting out legs or whole legs in the bottom of IKEA bags. You know those big industrial
Yeah.
bags you see people at the grocery stores with? I take it every time I go to the grocery store because it doesn't break. But they'll bring like a full size like bull mastiff like in
Yep.
an IKEA
Is it in a bag?
Yeah, it's in a bag. Most of the dogs in a bag I get around here have a ton of grease on it, but that's here nor there.
Are you a fan of the Chicago dog with all the toppings?
Oh, drag
Or-
it through the garden, baby.
God.
Drag it through.
I've had it twice. The first time just to have it. The second time because I thought I was craving it and I was wrong. I don't really like all the toppings.
You know what's the beautiful thing about the Chicago dog that doesn't get enough credit? They're called depression dogs, first and foremost, because they were made during the Great Depression when so many people
Are you talking about Vienna or Red Hots?
Vienna Red Hot, but the Chicago dog in general with the toppings
okay.
it has. Yeah. Because at that time there were so many people migrating to the city of Chicago and throughout America for that matter. But it has so many different ingredients on it. It had Polish bakeries that made poppy seed buns, German franks. There was a lot of like Mexican and Italian toppings that would go on top of it. You know,
That's so cool.
The tomato, the onion, the relish, celery salts, and the hot peppers. So it's just like America just piled up on top of a hot
That's really
dog,
cool. I
which
didn't
is
know that.
beautiful. My mouth's getting watery right now. Sorry. No, I love Chicago dogs. I used to talk about them every day for work. They're the best. They're so good because it's a good source of vegetables with some protein. You know,
It's
what I mean?
Almost a salad.
It's the
Almost a
equivalent.
salad.
It's the equivalent
Almost.
of a taco.
A taco.
Yeah, it's an American taco. Now, is it a sandwich? Is it a taco?
Yes.
Is it a hot dog?
It's meat in bread, therefore it is a sandwich.
Well, I mean,
But
I've
a
had
burger is
tacos that
also
are-
meat and bread.
A
Is it
burger's a
burger?
sandwich.
Yeah,
Is it?
but also a taco.
All burgers
is
are
meat
sandwiches, but
within.
not all sandwiches are burgers.
All right, y'all gonna make me hungry.
So
I know, I didn't eat enough today.
My next question is: do you
Stop
prefer
making potatoes after
do you
this.
prefer pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
They're pretty much the same thing.
Pancakes. They're not the same thing at all. Not even close.
Totally different.
Not even close.
Waffle has retainer value for syrup. Everyone knows
It's
that.
a very different eating experience too. Like the sensation of eating a pancake is more uniformly consistent. Where eating a waffle, you have like the crispy edges. You have a little more of the soft inside. You have the texture. It's a very, very different experience.
But it's made from the same batter.
But doesn't it feel different? Don't you feel the difference in your mouth?
I
Or
guess
is
when
that
you
just
say
because-
it like that, though, it's different because like French fries are French fries, but if you get
Waffle
like
fries.
waffle fries are waffled potato. Whoa, guys!
Yeah, waffle fries and,
It is
and
the
like
same.
regular fries are not the same thing.
But pancakes and waffles then are the same.
No, they're not.
Well, yes, they are. If you're going to compare that to that,
No, I'm saying they're different. Waffle fries and French fries are different. They taste and feel very different when you eat them.
but they're still fries.
Well, yes.
I guess pancakes are pan fries, right?
Well, in a waffle,
fries.
you have to have something that compresses it, which you can't do in a pan.
True.
It's a waffled cake.
Well, did you know that all toasters toast?
They
Some
don't-
will argue that they don't toast, that they heat up bread, making it toast.
If your toaster isn't toasting your toast, there's something wrong with it, and you need a new toaster. If it's just warming up, then it's defective.
Whoa. Anyways,
know.
America.
I felt a little toasted there when you were saying that.
That's what happens when you smoke a pen before the show.
It's a lot of toast. It's a lot of toast. So can we get back to your music? I think it's such a cool combination of everything that you do in between. You know, if you were to describe when your music and magic collaborated to create a significant experience in your life, is there anything that, we're talking about the persona on stage and to your personal life, is there ever a time in your music where that really just kind of came home to you?
So the third song on my EP is a song called The Hex. And when I was writing it, I was dealing with some people in my life, just like the worst, most awful people I've ever experienced. And there are a lot of people who, it's called baneful magic, or some people call it black magic. I don't like that term, but magic that is done with intent to...
Inflicts great harm, Batman.
Not
that
necessarily
Bane.
harm someone. I don't. So some hexes are very directed, like throwing a
watch where you're
poison
pointing
dart
that
at
thing.
someone. I prefer things that are like a reflection spell. So whatever the person is putting out, when the hex goes on them, they just get back the energy that they're putting out. And so if they are putting out a lot of bad energy, they're going to get a lot back. So I wrote this song called The Hex, and I did some spells while I was recording it, and I assigned it to 3 people specifically, and one of them died.
Wait, hold on. You did some spells, you assigned it to a couple people, and one of them died. Was
Yes.
that part of the spell?
No. So it was a reflection spell, so it was meant to just send that person's energy back to them. So they were putting out some really bad energy. Like, I didn't do
He had
that.
it
You brought
coming.
that on yourself.
He had it coming.
Exactly.
He only had
Exactly.
his
I didn't
hex
realize
to
it was going to
blame.
go that far, but
Dang.
What kind of spell was it?
just a reflection spell. So like, if you imagine a mirror, you're like looking at a mirror and you're projecting all of your things into it, and the mirror reflects everything back to you.
So did you need
That's
a mirror
interesting. So it's not even like karma. It's like it's what you put out into
It
the
is, but it's like
universe.
karma amplified.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, you can amplify the spiritual effect of things.
Do you perform hexes or spiritualistic things often, and do you have a favorite one that you do?
I do. I like to do a lot of like more like spiritual growth, kind of self-awareness stuff. Like for me personally, I've had a lot of really weird experiences and a lot of trauma. So finding ways to connect with, nature that helps me feel more calm or more soothed or whatever is really important. And just understanding myself better so that I can be a better person for the people I love is kind of where I focus most of my magic. I do like to do rituals on the full moon and the new moon. But it's not a consistent habit yet. That's something I'm working on. I'm not very consistent with it.
I've always wondered this. Why? I guess that's more of a deeper question of why But why did we ever get away from doing cycles upon the moons? Because there's how many moons per solar year? 10 or 11?
Well, there's one almost every month, so it's basically every 4 weeks. So if there's 52 weeks, then we would get, I think it's about 53 or 54 full moons. I don't remember. Probably because Christianity came along and wanted to get rid of anything that was not Christian.
So making February with 28 days was fucking Christian?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. No clue.
It would, to me, it would make sense to follow the moon cycle, because like that's just kind of a universal language then, where you look up and you see where the moon's at. You kind of know where you're at in the month. You know, like I could tell the time sometimes by looking up at the sun, not directly, but in general. But yeah, it would make sense then to follow the moon. You know, so it was, you think, just Christians wiping out pagan culture?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, what they couldn't eradicate, they stole and changed into something Christian, or just gave people like alternate things instead of being something pagan or witchcraft or whatever. Because Christianity, I know some really nice Christians. I know a lot that aren't. But as a general rule, I'm pretty anti-religion. And they just wanted to control people, and the best way to control people was to get rid of the things that reminded them of their old customs or anything that wasn't the church.
Mm-hmm. Like Yuletide for Christmas or Hallows Eve for Halloween. That's interesting. Now, on a perfect like moonlit night, on a full moon, what if could you walk us through like what one of your rituals might look like for a full moon?
So a ritual usually starts with, before I even start the ritual, the space has to be cleansed. So physically cleaning the space, and, trying to get rid of any negative energy that might be there, so that when I sit down to do the ritual, I'm clear. I'm in a, just like an open, safe place. And then I like to call in the elements. So I'll call in, earth, wind, and fire. Earth, fire, air, water, and spirit. Not everyone does the fifth one. And then oftentimes I'll have a focus of 3 specific goddesses. For Maiden, Mother, Crone, those are like kind of the 3 stages of like a feminine goddess life, I guess, or what they're associated with. So then I'll talk to the goddesses, and I don't actually believe that there's personalities out there flying around, making up people's fates. I think that those elements are just give us something to focus on. So like when I'm talking about, or I'm calling in Hecate, for example, what I'm really doing is I'm trying to remind myself of all those aspects, those personality characteristics of her that I want to learn about or that I want to embody myself, and I'm focusing on those, so then I manifest those things into my life, like whatever her strength is. And then there's sometimes I'll do, like, I like to burn things, so I'll maybe do some affirmations and then burn them and send the smoke up, and then close the circle. That's it. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
sometimes
beautiful.
I'll write a whole script, and sometimes I just totally riff on it. It depends.
Yeah, that's really cool. Why don't you think people invite the spiritual realm into their ceremonies like that?
I'm not sure. It's just I actually don't know a lot of other witches. I've been solitary for a long time. I don't have a coven. So I think there are some elements that I'm missing that I could probably learn from people if I were more interactive in some kind of group space. I think it's just a personal preference thing, really.
It's probably a dangerous door to open too, perhaps. You know what I mean? In all
Well,
seriousness,
and it could also be
right?
that
Like,
some people think that the spirit encompasses the other 4 elements, so they don't need to call it in separately. I view spirit, as being just a way to access like higher knowledge, higher consciousness. Again, it's not like I don't believe there's a singular entity up there, saying you die today or you're going to become rich or whatever. Spirit is just like the energy of the universe.
So when it comes to the supernatural, do you believe in ghosts or the afterlife or anything like that?
Yes, because what is it? The third law of thermodynamics or something? I forget. I'm not a science person. Something about how energy and matter is neither created nor destroyed. It just always is. Mm-hmm. So consciousness, I believe, is just some kind of energy that we don't know how to quantify and measure yet. And when you die, your consciousness, whatever that energy is, has to go somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I think, yes, sometimes a person's consciousness can get stuck in, like maybe an in-between realm before they move on to whatever the next phase in the life of an energy entity is. And then I think you probably just become part of the energy of the universe. And maybe there isn't a singular consciousness anymore. Maybe you just all come together. I don't know.
Have you ever had an experience with the paranormal?
The house that I live in right now is haunted. The lady that we bought it from died in that house, and she has not moved on yet. I hear her walking around at night sometimes, and I swear to God there's no one else there. Doors will open and close. She's benevolent. She's a very, very sweet old lady. Everyone on the block loved her, so I'm not threatened by it, but I'm curious as to why she's still there. I don't think there's anything I can do for her, but she has not left yet.
Hey, with mortgage rates these high, I wouldn't want to leave
Right.
either. Yeah.
She's like, where am I going to go? Rent's too much.
You think you'd be able to make contact with her? Or is there a way that people
I haven't
can
tried.
do it?
Probably. I actually went to the Chicago Paranormal Convention a couple months ago, and I have a bunch of friends that are really into that stuff. I probably could bring someone over with, the Ghostbusters gear if I really wanted to, but I don't feel threatened by her, so I don't feel like I need to.
Right. Let her live in peace. Yeah. Where is the paranormal convention at? That's really cool.
I think they've held it in different places. It was this year. It was in this like sort of warehouse district. It was really hard to find, actually. It was fun.
Super cool.
You ever seen the show Supernatural?
No, but I've been told that I would enjoy it.
Yeah, you probably would. You should check it out. They have like 20 seasons or something like
Oh,
that.
nice. That's good to know, because sometimes you run out of TV and nothing new looks good.
Yeah, it's I think 20 early 2000s is when they were coming on pretty
Nice.
strong.
It is important, though, to keep that connection with people who have your own personal beliefs like that when it comes to witchcraft or anything like that. With these conventions, do you meet folks and do you partake in gatherings with people who celebrate in the same thing?
The paranormal convention, that was the first one I'd ever gone to. My community is mostly Star Trek fans and other autistic people, which happen to coincide a lot. So I actually just came back from a convention in Vegas, the biggest Star Trek convention. Is it in the world? I don't know if it's in the world.
It's Vegas,
Probably.
baby.
It was big. It was big. And it was my second year going. And the Star Trek fandom is really unlike any other because it's very community focused. It's very focused on like social justice issues. I mean, that was Gene Roddenberry's entire vision for Star Trek was he could tell these stories that otherwise wouldn't get on TV, but because they're aliens, he could talk about racism and sexism and injustices, but because they were aliens, people didn't quite understand what they were saying at the time. But yeah, the Trek community is fantastic.
What's one fun Star Trek fact that people should know for nobody that's ever seen the show before? I've never seen the show before.
A lot of people think that Vulcans don't have emotions, and that's actually not true. They have very, very intense emotions, which is why they developed their mastery to become so logical, because their race was at risk of being overtaken and destroyed by their emotions. So Vulcans are actually very emotional. They just hold it all in.
I know a few people like that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Same. I'm just gonna. This might be. There might be shots fired here.
Uh-oh.
I'm a Star Wars guy. Through
Oh
and
no, I'm out.
through. Deep into Star Wars. Deep
It's
into Star
okay.
Wars.
It's okay, but Star Wars is fantasy, not sci-fi.
Oh shit!
Wait, hang on.
You said your shit's fake, bro.
Wait, yeah, wait, yeah. Well, huh?
You said shots fired. She fired back.
What is the central focus of Star Wars? It's the Force. It's magic. Okay, so now I have to think about this. Wait a second. But still, the focus is definitely more on the magic than the sci-fi. Like you don't have
You're right.
technobabble like you do in Star Trek.
Right. Whoa.
So who would win in a battle, Captain Kirk or Darth Vader?
Bro,
I mean,
Vader would
Vader-
whoop his ass. Come on.
Vader,
I don't
because he
know
has
who-
those extra abilities.
I don't know who the equivalent of Darth Vader would be. Darth Vader would be in the Star Trek world.
Captain Kirk could be like, choke me harder.
So he'd be
Yeah,
like,
Daddy.
So he'd be like the equivalent of Princess Leia.
Who would be the equivalent of Princess Leia? I couldn't tell you any other people other than Captain Kirk on Star Trek, to be honest with you.
Spock.
Spock, that's right.
You know Spock.
Would he be the equivalent of like what's his face? The
Han Solo.
No, he would be
Spock,
more
'cause
like
he's the wrong guy.
he would be a Jedi Master
Yeah.
for sure, because he's got that like serene, calm, you know. Although he's half human, so he struggles with his emotions even more than a regular Vulcan would
would he be a
so-
Wookiee?
No, no. Let's see. What would the Wookiees in Star Trek be? Tribbles.
Tribbles. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a triple?
People that know what that is are gonna be so mad at me. Tribbles just little fuzzy creatures that can't speak. They're born pregnant, so they populate very quickly. They're just not. They're useless little creatures.
Sounds like the rats
Like
that
my
grow in
son
the
gonna
city. Yeah.
say.
Huh.
A lot furrier though. They're like little balls of fuzz.
You might want to keep one as a pet, maybe.
I have one at home.
You have one?
Yeah, and it vibrates and it makes these. I almost brought stuff, but then I forgot I was running out of time.
Hey, this goes to show. Anytime you guys come on Hawk Wins, if you want to bring your fun stuff, bring it in. We like it when people bring in fun props.
I got a bunch of
please.
extra fun stuff at the convention.
You did bring like a book,
Yeah.
or didn't you?
I did, but that's a book I wrote.
Yeah, would you like to talk about it?
Sure.
I know we're talking about the book, you just published this too, correct?
Yeah, I came back from Vegas and the box was in my living room. It actually has 3 Star Trek quotes on the back, but this book is it's called Autistic Affirmations: A Journal for Self-Discovery and Acceptance, and it's set up like a journal workbook. So each day has an affirmation, and then some like thinking writing prompts, and it was difficult for me to decide on the title for this because a lot of autistic people have had really bad experiences with affirmations, because the mental health space has a lot of like toxic positivity and like, you can do anything you put your mind to. No, you can't. Not everybody can achieve whatever they want to. So like, especially when you have a disability, you have to be like realistic about things. So I created these affirmations with, you know, like a specific neurodivergence in mind, and it's definitely more about like self-acceptance and like learning about who you are as a person. And this is on, if you go to heatherhexa.com and then I think /shop, you can order it there. And it's only 31 days. I'm probably going to do another longer one after this.
So each page is an affirmation, or what do you?
Yep. So
Can you read one?
for
Like
example, day 16 affirmation: it's okay if I'm not the child my parents expected.
Oh.
I will not be misguided by unrealistic or unfair expectations. The only expectations I need to live up to are those I set for myself. And then the 2 writing thinking prompts. One is, my relationship with my parents is, and then you fill in a bunch of blanks. And then, someone in my family I'd like to get to know better is. So every day is like that. Like day 3 affirmation: my sensory experiences are valid. Sensory issues is a big deal for autistic people. It's like our entire life, pretty much.
Yeah.
Some things may be harder for me than other people. Like that's something that is really hard to accept.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't know that I was autistic until I was in my 30s. And then coming to terms with the fact that I am disabled was really difficult, because I had a lot of my own like internalized ableism. and I called myself lazy or selfish or whatever, all the things that people told me that I was all my life. And then I realized that I'm not lazy. I'm struggling because I'm disabled. So I really wanted to bring a lot to that to this journal, and to help people like find their own inner strengths, and you don't have to have a superpower. Not everybody has a superpower. It's okay to just be yourself, and you're still worthy of love regardless of who you are. So I'm really, really, really excited to share this with people. I also have a pay it forward program. So anyone that buys a copy, if they are able to purchase a second copy, and it's really cheap, it's on sale, I think $14.99 right now. If someone purchases a copy to give away, then I have a queue for people who can't afford a copy, and I'll send it to them. Because a lot of autistic people can't work. So like we don't have the same kind of income. So yeah.
That's terrific. That's really cool.
Thank you so much for asking.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll put it down in the description below. That's a really awesome thing. Again, one more time, can you just repeat it for us where they can access it again?
It's heatherhaxa.com. So HeatherHaxa.com. And then there's a shop page. It's listed there.
Oh.
And you can get a PDF version of it too, which is like $5.
Oh, nice.
So.
Okay. Cool.
It's really cool. So we talked about Star Trek. We talked about autistic people and their mental health. We talked about witchcraft. How does all this tie into your music? Because you have a pretty interesting sound. It's like electronic, EDM, it's like bass heavy. Like, how would you describe your sound, and how does all your personality tie into your music?
So I think it's pretty squarely witch house. Have you ever heard witch house before?
When we heard your music.
The genre? Really? Oh, sweet.
First time.
Okay, so Sidewalks and Skeletons? Crystal Castles?
I heard
Maybe?
Crystal
Okay.
Castles for sure.
Those
yeah.
are like the only two that have gotten radio play. It's a very niche, kind of small subgenre.
Okay.
And it's funny because I didn't start out intending to make witch house, but I got divorced 5 years ago, and because I lost all the friends in the divorce, they were all his friends, and that's fine. I didn't want them. I had no friends, like zero friends, zero social life. And my husband at the time was stuck in Canada because he lived there, and it was during the lockdown. He couldn't get across the border. So I had started listening to, synthwave, and then synthwave kind of got harder and harder into like just harder synth stuff, and then something witch house popped up, and I just immediately loved it. And then Facebook recommended a show to me, a local show that I went to, and then I met a bunch of people through them, and I was like, oh, actually witch house is pretty cool. So I decided to make a witch house album. So the EP is very, very heavily witch house inspired, but my full length will probably be a little more diverse. Like I like industrial stuff a lot. I've got some like acoustic singer-songwriter kind of things.
What's your EP called?
Priestess. I had to think about it for a second. Yeah, yeah. It's on Blasphemy Records.
Nice.
Is the label.
So would you consider yourself more of like a synth player, or like what would you consider yourself mostly?
Mostly, I probably would call myself a singer. I did learn to play piano when I was really young, and I only learned electronic production because I wanted to be able to make my own music, and I didn't know how. So I learned how to use, to make shit with a keyboard and a laptop. But you know what, actually? No, not singer, songwriter, because I really like lyrics. Like, lyrics are really important to me. Some people don't care, but lyrics are super important to me. Like, one of my songs is about panic attacks. And I did such a good with that song that I can't listen to it sometimes.
What's like a verse or a lyric that you would say from that song is like stands
from
out
that
the
one?
most? Yeah, someone stands out.
I can't quite describe how it feels to be falling and paralyzed.
And what does that mean?
I can't remember the exact, if I'm not singing it. So when I have panic attacks, it just feels like I'm spinning and like I have no control over my body where it goes, and sometimes I just end up on the floor and I can't breathe.
Jesus.
Yeah, panic attacks are not fun.
Yeah.
My favorite line from any of my songs so far is, "I'm not a cannibal, but you can feed the animal." I mean, that's from Haxa, or the Hex. Sorry, it's from the Hex.
How'd you come up with that? What does that mean?
It rhymed. it just like kind of the same way I intuitively practice my witchcraft. I'll start with a couple lines, and then my brain just goes and words just come out, and then later they make sense. It's a very like stream of consciousness kind of process for me when I write lyrics.
It's like painting a picture then. You know you want these certain features in the song, then you kind of string it in between then.
Yeah.
It's cool.
But I learned electronic production over the course of making the EP. So that was a lot of work. I'm hoping that the next album will be easier now that I know how to do most of it.
Nice. Do you have anything written out for your next album yet? Like, how's that going?
So I have, basically the next album is going to be a rock opera.
Rock opera, that's cool.
Nice.
Because the character Haxa, which is based on that fictional story that my husband and I started writing, is from that whatever. And so we had started writing songs kind of to go with the story already. And then we decided that it would be really cool if we just continue writing songs and then make it into a musical. And I have a friend who is an artist that's going to do like a comic book insert for the album. So I've got a couple songs that are like half finished. I really need to get off my ass, and I have a lot of shit to do.
We hear you. Sometimes it's hard to just kind of get that creative spark again. You know, what's your best setting to get inspired? Do you light a candle, lock yourself in a room, get a note and pen? What do you do to create it?
I like to be outside at night. Like I like to hear the crickets and look up and see the stars. I've written a lot of lyrics outside. Musically, usually what happens is I sit down and I'll play the piano and something will come to me. But when I'm like writing, I like to be outside. Smell the grass, maybe eat a little bit of it.
When did you start your musical journey? How old were you when you realized you wanted to do something in the musical realm?
I started taking piano lessons when I was like 6 or 7 because I grew up in a religious cult. So the only things that we were allowed to listen to besides Christian music was classical. And I had this one tape that had Moonlight Sonata and Fur Elise on it, and I started picking it out by ear on the piano. So my mom was like, "You need to take lessons." But I still don't really like performing, to be honest, but no one else has the vision that I have in my head, so I have to do it. I'm not super comfortable on stage or in front of people, but I have such a distinct vision for music that no one else can do it. So I've never really felt like a performer. I've never been like the person that wants to be on stage. I just want to make music, but you kind of have to do everything now. So,
you know, it's funny you say that. We've interviewed a lot of musicians here, and a lot of them say that they're like a little bit introverted when it comes to like going on stage. But you know, I've always described it as like when you're on stage and you're on your zone, it's kind of like you block everything out, so it kind of feels like you're by yourself a little bit.
that's one of the big reasons I have the
didn't know
Hexa
that.
character, because when I put the antlers on, I put the makeup on, I put the robes on, I start to feel like a different person, and that's the person that is confident on stage. I just have to like tap into that for performances.
Yeah, I've always said musicians are like a whole different breed, or just entertainers in general. We're like a whole different breed.
Yeah.
It gives you that kind of edge of escaping reality, escaping your own body. It's
Yeah.
Batman and Bruce Wayne. You know, you become something more than what you were given at birth, if you will.
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
That's a really good analogy. I have to remember that. Hexa is the Batman to Heather's Bruce Wayne.
I got a good
I like
podcast
that.
for it if you want. It's the whole psychiatry of Batman characters, and I was like, I
Ooh.
love this. This is
What
so-
are your favorite Batman movies?
I hate to admit it, but I really like the new Batman with Robert Pattinson.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was cool.
I haven't seen it yet.
It was Batman in his sophomore year, so he was trying to
Oh.
like figure it out still.
That's cool.
This one scene, it's kind of like, it kind of blows over everyone's head, where he like goes to start up the Batmobile and it doesn't start up, and he like stalls, and he's like, "Fuck." But it's just funny because he's working out the kinks. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's a very humbling
great.
thing. But then Dark Knight's so good. As a former Chicago tour guide, I guess I
say
said
that was
too.
gonna
Those
be
are
my-
so good.
My go-to.
And the
Knight was
second
really-
one is actually better than the first one, which is not usually the case with movies,
Right.
I think.
I went back and rewatched that one with Liam Neeson, and I was like, I get why I wasn't super into this when I was a kid, you know? Like, it was cool, but it wasn't like, it was the Bruce Wayne story. It wasn't the Batman story, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's cool, though, because I guess that's maybe the episode to watch if you want to dive into this idea of, what was the word we were saying? I'm drawing a mind fart right here. Disassociation,
Yeah.
where you can separate the id and the ego, and you can be not just Bruce Wayne, but because Bruce Wayne also has another, he wears two masks, you know? He's Bruce Wayne as a mask that he has to wear in the public, and then he's Batman. And then somewhere in between, there's like the actual guy, you know? It's interesting, though. 'cause
Did you
it's
watch Gotham,
wild.
the TV show?
I never got into it. I can't do TV series. I don't have
I
the
liked it
attention
a
span
lot.
for
seen
it.
some
I
of
liked it
it.
a lot.
Yeah.
They made Penguin a very sympathetic character, and the Joker too. Like I actually felt really, really sad for the Penguin character after watching that show.
Colin Farrell Penguin is about to have its own series. coming out
Really?
Pretty soon, yeah. That'll be
Colin
pretty
Farrell's
cool.
gonna do TV.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Interesting.
It's Netflix TV.
Oh, okay,
so,
okay, all right.
You know, an extended movie, if you
Yeah.
will. But his is cool though, because he's very much like Al Capone. You know, it's a cool one. What's
That's
your favorite
fun.
Batman movie?
The Dark Knight series. Yeah, the second one. It's really good. I just watched them. I don't know, a couple years ago. They're really good.
Great. They're so good. Do you ever watch the 1960s Batman with Adam West?
I've seen it. I haven't like sat down and watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, most of the TV I watch is Star Trek. Like I'm working my way through finishing all of the series, and some of them I've watched 5 or 6 times all the way through now. But that's like my happy place.
Hey, I get it. You know, as a female performer, I would totally suggest watch old Batman, but watch Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt was the best Catwoman to ever play the game.
She's a legend.
Legend. Hello, Batman. Like she was just, she was feisty. She was fun. And if you do you know who Eartha Kitt is?
No idea. I'm gonna have to look him up.
Holes. Remember?
You must,
Holes.
you must carry Madame Zoroni up the mountain so I can get strong too.
Remember her? That's Eartha Kitt. She was. Sorry.
Isn't she the one that also did the original Santa Baby?
I think she did.
I think so.
She totally did, but she was like super young, right? She was like in her teens.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I think she did the first one. I like it better than the Madonna version.
Eartha Kitt. They don't make them like they used to. She's a legend. Whoa. Eartha Kitt. Well, cool. Outside of Star Trek, do you have any other fantasy, like sci-fi or fantasy realms that you like?
Battlestar Galactica. This
Galactica.
actually stands for So Say We All, but it's written as a chemical compound. It's also the logo. My ex and I had a record label for a little while. I've tried to watch the original Battlestar Galactica from the 70s. It's terrible. I haven't even gotten through one episode. But the one that came in the 90s is fantastic. Firefly. Firefly is great. If you like comedy. I mean, Stargate. Stargate's also awesome. It's one of my favorite movies. The Matrix is my all-time favorite movie.
Matrix
For
is
sure.
epic. Very
Would you
epic.
take a blue pill or a red pill?
Red Pill. Fuck
You,
yeah.
Jack?
What are the options again?
I forgot.
I'd probably ask Morpheus
One
that
of them,
too.
One of them
Like,
keeps
take-
you exactly the same as you are, and then the other one brings you to like a whole different reality.
Yeah, so the red pill is you can escape the Matrix and live in the real world and see all of the things, the truth for what it really is. The blue pill means you just stay oblivious and stay in the Matrix.
Huh. I kind of like the way I am. I might take the blue, although I hate my like crippling anxiety and depression sometimes. But actually, you know what? The Earth is kind of.
You wouldn't want to know the truth behind 9/11?
Bro.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Well, now that we're on the conspiracy train, I'll take the red pill.
You wouldn't want to know the truth behind that millionaire submarine?
I'll take the red pill. I'll take the red pill.
Remember that shit?
There's a lot. Believe me, we could have a whole podcast.
Did they end up passing away or did they survive?
They all
I don't remember.
died.
They did.
Oh,
it
they
like
turned to
imploded,
mush.
right?
Yeah,
The
so
submarine?
they
Yeah.
went so deep in the ocean that all the weight from the water or whatever just pretty much just fucking collapsed the ship within itself.
Yeah.
Not an explosion, but an implosion.
And then they also,
Scary as fuck.
before that, they probably ran out of oxygen too. So if they weren't dead from the implosion, they were probably already dead from the lack of oxygen.
What a stupid fucking thing though is a submarine. Like, do you really want to like travel miles down and like shit in a bucket and pay millions of dollars?
The worst
to
part
do
about
it?
that is that they probably paid millions of dollars to get into that thing.
Mm-hmm.
$1 million coffin, dude.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like Fire Festival under the sea.
Oh God. Oh.
Wouldn't do it. Golly. Is there any sort of tourism like that you would just not be into? That
I
you're
have almost drowned, so I would not want to go underwater at all for any reason.
Would you go to space?
Yes, which
you go to
doesn't make
Mars?
sense. Would I go to Mars?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Hell yeah.
So if they were to have Mars within our lifetime, it would take pretty much by the time we were like really old to get there. So we pretty much get there and we die.
So there's there's someone I saw at the Star Trek convention last year. His name is Dr. Robert Zubrin, and he wrote a book called The Case for Mars. And his concept is that basically once you get up to Mars, you have everything you need to make shit there.
Except for oxygen.
Or
No, you
water.
can make oxygen from the chemicals that exist on Mars.
True.
Like you could make like different metal alloys, and it was interesting because it's a very like I haven't finished the book because it's pretty dense reading, and I'm not a super smart person. But his concept is that you would use some of the scientific techniques that are from like the 1800s to convert gases or to make something into water.
That makes sense.
It's really
a little
interesting.
bit.
And he actually is the person who inspired Elon Musk to make his rockets reusable. So
Interesting.
that's one of the things I really like about the conventions is it's not just Star Trek stuff. Like they have scientists, actual scientists that do panels and talk about real things happening.
That's cool. Yeah, they were saying they found like traces of like water in Mars.
Frozen,
don't
I
know.
think,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think they were frozen or something like that, which is pretty cool. Like, you have water, you have oxygen, you pretty much have everything. Like what you were saying, you have everything that you need to,
I'd
make.
let the guinea pigs figure it out first. I would like.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to go there as like a workforce. Space tourism, yes. I don't think I would want to live on Mars, at least not, in 50 years or
I
whatever.
think going to the
maybe
moon is a
50
lot more
years.
easier than going to Mars for sure.
Probably, yeah.
I think that's probably more accomplishable in our lifetime.
Yeah. Although I don't know, I think there's some shit hidden on the moon.
Oh, for
talking about
sure.
conspiracies.
Uh-oh.
Do you know that the moon doesn't rotate?
Did you know it's actually not made out of cheese?
Well, we all knew that. No, the moon doesn't rotate, bro.
Well, it's
There's
'cause
the dark side of the moon. It stays
tied-
on
It's
it.
tied to the Earth's gravitational
rotate.
pull.
Yeah, we rotate, but you would think that the moon does, but it doesn't. And I think there's things hiding on the backside. If we're not on Hawk Winds next week, you guys know why.
Do you know there's no real cows in the moon?
Well, yeah, Jay, because there's aliens. You ever notice
Little
that
green men.
Neil Armstrong, A. Neil spelt backwards, is alien?
Oh my god.
What? Whoa! Just saying.
Where's my balance?
Throwing it out there. If I die next week, I didn't kill myself.
Same.
The little black men or the men in black suits show up at your door.
Yeah. Like Will Smith's gonna
Flash.
come slap the shit out of me.
Your memory is gone.
Not slap, punch.
Yeah.
Keep the name of those aliens out of your goddamn mouth.
They are not the Anunnaki!
Oh my god.
Oh man. speaking of Earthlings out there into the universe, we do have a lot of comments here in the comment section.
That's cool.
Kale Johansson, that's your husband. I figured.
Hi, baby.
You got any special messages you want to send to your husband?
I love you. I didn't prepare for that.
Oh. Well,
He's very, very, very supportive, and I appreciate it so much. He's a really good husband.
Oh. Heather's been speaking very kindly of you. We pulled up a photo of you. I was like, "Dang, you got a good looking husband. You got a cute husband." And she's like, "He's my beautiful Swedish husband." And I'm like, "Get
Hot.
it, girl."
I said hot.
Hot Swedish.
Let the record stand.
Yeah, she didn't say beautiful, though you are more hot. He's a big Batman Begins fan. He says Batman Begins all the way.
Nice.
We have Hannon Males saying Eartha Kitt. Do you know
my
Hannon?
friend. Yeah.
She said Eartha
Vivian.
Kitt. Also, Emperor's New Groove.
Pull the lever, Gronk.
Wrong lever, Crunk. That's always my favorite. Pull the lever, Crunk.
Today kind of feels like
Wrong
an Arby's
lever,
day.
Crunk.
Man, Arby's used to be so good. It stopped being good. Like,
Was it though?
yes,
Was it?
it was.
When?
Let's see. That would be 2004.
Oh.
That's the last time I remember it being good, and I know that
Yeah.
because I lived in Indianapolis then. And when I came here in 2006, it wasn't good anymore.
Yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So Hannon is tuning in here saying, "Do you see there's rocks in the oxygen that make oxygen
Black oxygen. I just seen
What?
that.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I just seen that.
that have changed our understanding of how making
Yes.
oxygen is made?"
So
That's cool.
That's
Uh,
really cool.
it's like
I knew
rocks.
plants did, but like
it's like rocks make like black oxygen where it's like way underneath in the water, man. It's,
whoa.
Yeah.
So it just does it's like a quick fizz that you like drop in your drink kind of thing, or just like
No,
make-
it's like they like they live under ocean or whatever, and like they release chemicals that like make oxygen, I guess.
whoa.
Which you used to think they would come from like
Interesting.
from like whatever fucking
Vents and stuff,
process.
right?
Well, whatever process that plants use, like fucking mitosis or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm not a scientist, but you would think they would only come from plants until they discover those rocks.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean?
What is the word for that? The chlorophyll is involved.
Yeah, I forgot what the fuck it's called. Let me look it up real quick.
Chloroform, more like borofilm.
It's right here.
Not photosynthesis.
Oh, there
That's
you go.
what it
There
is.
you go. Yep. So they,
Photosynthesis.
Huh. Without
would-
the greenery, though,
it
right?
would only come from plants until they discovered those black rocks.
Whoa.
Or that black oxygen, I guess.
That's cool.
And I think So the reason it's called black oxygen is because you need light to create photosynthesis, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But because they're so underneath on the ocean, they don't get no light, and it's black oxygen.
So
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm curious what chemical compounds.
Exactly, yeah,
are?
I'm not-
Like, what's making
I saw
oxygen
I saw a
exactly?
video about it, which is why I literally today. That's funny.
It's wild.
But yeah, definitely look it up. There's more to it than what I'm telling you, but
That's cool. I love that there's like so much to discover still.
dude, it's crazy.
We know
The
so
ocean-
little about our planet.
We've explored so little of our ocean. So
Right.
crazy.
Do you think there's things lurking underneath though? Because I've heard that too,
yeah.
where they're like they went under like Antarctica and like drones and like submarines were going missing, and they're like
Oh, you mean like the King Kong shit and Godzilla?
like the inner Earth
Yeah, yeah,
theory.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's a Jules
inner
Verne
Earth
thing.
type theory.
I
But
don't
there-
know about that.
I think there is though. There's so much of the ocean we haven't explored, that and also too, do you think they would just tell common folk like ourselves if there was something that
Not with how controlled things are now.
I mean, think
No.
about how long it took for the government to admit that there were UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
right?
So, you know what I mean? They wouldn't just tell us. They'd fucking make
And
it.
they weren't exactly telling us either. Like, you had to be listening and know what they were talking about to understand what they were actually saying.
Yep.
Your husband's saying Cthulhu.
He's been reading Cthulhu.
That's a wild creature, dude.
Yeah.
Cthulhu. I didn't realize what Cthulhu was until too late in my life. I was like, why did I not know this when I was a kid?
There's a collection of short stories that's really good.
Can you tell the listeners what Cthulhu is?
I just remember what he looks like. He's like a squid thing, but he is like a space god almost, right? Like he has supernatural powers.
Yeah, it's like if Arnold Schwarzenegger was to play Davy Jones in Pirates of
Yeah.
the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Because he's got the octopus face kind of thing, but isn't he? It's like he's got like a human body.
I don't think
right?
so. I think it's just like a blob with
It's a
tentacles.
blob?
I think so.
Ooh.
I was just thinking about the ocean and the earth. I didn't know this until recently, but like if you look at the globe, almost all the land is on one side, and when you spin it around, the other half of the earth is like almost totally water. And you never see that part because there's nothing there to look at.
Right.
But like when you see a picture, a map of the globe, and you see all the continents, it's not because they're, they've moved them for the map. It's literally most of the land is on one side of the earth.
The
weird.
tectonic plate's still shifting then from Pangea.
Yeah, yeah. We're
I heard
maybe in a
Robin.
few more thousand years we'll spread across more. So
California's gonna crash right into Taiwan then.
I was gonna say I heard some countries are gonna crash into each other. Actually, California might not even exist by then. It's gonna go underwater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Florida.
yeah,
But all of them.
California.
California's ripping away from the coast. That whole what's that? The split right there. The right by like the Baja Desert and all that.
San Fernando Fault.
San Fernando
like
Fault,
that?
yeah.
Something like that.
That's just ripping California right off
Really?
the coast. It's insane. I never thought tectonic plates were a thing until I went to the this museum in Ohio. It was in Cincinnati, which is an awesome city, by the way. It was really cool. Side note: they had Neil Armstrong's Snoopy cap in there, which was cool.
Oh, that's cool.
So the Snoopy cap that said "One small step for man," it was in there. Whether it was staged or not, I don't know. But it's there. It's really cool. But in that museum they had the globe, and it was 3D projection mapping on the globe itself, and it showed the tectonic plates shifting over time. And you're right. If you go on the other side, it's just water for the whole other side of it. But it's cool to see like how Florida came to be. Like there could have been a crater inside of the Gulf of Mexico, and you just see all these things like through time from what they know through time of like how land shifted. I mean, even like what's the land that went under Atlantis.
Atlantis?
Yeah, and there's all these people claiming that like Atlantis could have been like a part of Antarctica that like got clipped off of Pangea and whoosh, flipped down into the South Pole.
That's cool.
know?
Wait, so Atlantis is real?
Oh, for sure, dude. There's totally like there are people are saying that there are pyramids frozen in time on Antarctica, to say that there was like an ancient civilization that had just, like I said, just broken off from the cliff and
cool.
spun southbound.
I wish I knew that I would be alive longer to see some of the like scientific and technological advances that are going to happen. I really wish I was born later, or I
What are
could
some-
time travel.
Right. What are some things that you would like to see?
Faster than light travel, for sure, because warp speed. Aliens. I want to see the Federation being formed. No, just to go out in space. And I know that there's so much on our planet we don't know, but space is the thing for me. Like I want to go travel the galaxies. And that will sadly not happen in my lifetime.
I bet you that within our lifetime we will have like human
Space tourism, yeah,
alien-
for sure.
space tourism,
But we're
I
not
think
going to get
there-
outside our solar system anytime soon.
Do you think there will be contact though, like face-to-face contact with extraterrestrial beings?
No, I think that we would have to become way more advanced to even detect other alien species. And I think that humans are kind of a dumpster fire, so they're not going to want to come here unless they're coming to subjugate us.
Yeah, mining us for all of our gold. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some weird theories out there. They're even saying that Earth could be a petri dish for extraterrestrial life forms that they came here to.
Are you guys South Park fans?
Yeah.
You guys, well, two things. You guys remember that one episode where the aliens were just watching Earth as like a TV show? That's pretty much all we are.
Yeah.
That's the plot of
entertainment
Galaxy
for-
Quest.
All right. Yeah, that's right.
What about Man?
That was a
Birthday?
great movie.
Historical
by the way.
documents.
Oh, Tim Allen, what a guy.
What's the second one?
And Alan Rickman was in that too. He was great in that.
Man, Bear, Pig. Going back to mythical creatures. He's 1/3 man, 1/3 pig, 1/3 bear.
You think he's
Well,
real?
pigs and bears are very closely related, actually.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yep, pigs are carnivores too. Well, not carnivore; they're omnivores, but pigs will eat meat.
Yeah.
We raised a pig in Alaska, and when it was a little tiny baby pigs are so cute because they walk on their tiptoes. They look like little ballerinas, and they're all pink and fuzzy. And
cute.
I don't know why my parents let me name it and put it on a leash and walk it around, because when it grew up, we ate it.
What'd you name it?
Nyla.
Crispy bacon.
I don't know why then it was named Nyla, but when it was a little tiny little piglet and I was carrying it around like a little baby doll, I dropped it one time. I dropped it in a Costco, and as it got older and bigger, it started to lose mobility, and then it started to not be able to walk, and it turned out, and as it got bigger, we started to see the back had been broken. So that pig got so mean because it was probably really uncomfortable and pain. But it got to the point where we couldn't safely go in the pig's pen because it would attack us.
Jesus.
Yeah, pigs will eat meat.
So then you ate it?
I didn't eat pork for probably a good 30 years after that because I couldn't. And then I finally rediscovered bacon, and now I love it again. But yeah, it was a little traumatic. I didn't eat pork.
Would
for
you ever have a
long
pet
time.
pig again?
Maybe if I had a farm. They're pretty smart, actually. They're
are.
very smart.
There's a guy in Logan Square. I don't know if he still lives there or not, but for a
Oh,
while.
they have little mini ones?
Little black, yeah, he had a little black pig, and it
Aw.
was pretty cool. He would just walk it around like during festivals and stuff, like Logan Square
Oh, I
Festival.
have
Aw.
seen that guy. Yeah.
Just walking around the pig and shit.
cute.
It was pretty cool, yeah.
That's cute.
I hope he didn't eat it.
I would have a horse before I had a pig. Like, if I had enough space for a pig, I would rather have a horse.
Yeah, same.
So I probably would not have a pig.
I killed a pig when I was 13.
Did you?
Yeah, my parents in South America own a pig farm, and that's pretty much what their job was to like kill pigs every day and sell it to the people going to the markets.
Yeah.
When I was 12, I had my dad and my uncle tie a pig down because they were like freaking 500 pounds or whatever, and then
They're strong, too.
they're strong and they make a lot of noise. They handed me a knife. And they were all like, right there, the heart, just get it once, that's it. And I'm all like,
Wow.
I'm 12 years old.
Wow.
I'm 12 years old. Not only that, I'm from like America, so I've never like done anything remotely close to that. I'm just like, why is he crying? What are you guys doing to this poor pig?
Oh, no.
And they're like, just stab it in the heart. You're supposed to do this. I'm like, okay.
Oh, my
and
God.
I missed the heart.
Oh no.
And I had to do it again.
Oh, no.
Anyways, that's the day I became a man. Just kidding.
Well, did it taste good at least?
It was delicious.
I bet you got to eat after
I
that.
didn't name it, but it was still delicious. Which, yeah.
We had rabbits for a while, too, for the fur and for the meat. And you can just kill them by hitting them over the head. But my mom missed one time, and a rabbit scream sounds like a baby crying.
Oh no.
So she was like, we're not doing rabbits anymore. No more rabbits. Like I heard it from, like quite a ways away. It was awful.
I also killed a chicken a couple of times actually. That's actually pretty easy. Because you just grab it by the neck and just.
I've never killed an animal before.
No?
Bro.
I've done a few mercy killings. Like a neighbor's dog got a rabbit and it was still alive and it's like totally mangled. So I had to
Yeah.
And then one time I was working somewhere and there was a little bat on the back of the building. And I went out the next morning and I don't know if it was like the trash can had bumped it or whatever, but it had gotten, one of its wings had been torn off. So it couldn't fly and it was bleeding. So I had to go find a knife and I'm kind of grateful for, having the experience of growing up with animals because it still made me really, really sad, but at least I could do it. No one else was going to do it. So then it would just suffered, for the next 3 hours until animal control got there or whatever. Right. So those are really hard things to do, but I'm glad I could
Put him out of its misery. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that. It's hard. I was at the vet the other day. My cat wasn't doing too well, but I saw this guy like bringing in his dog, and I was just like, dude, I couldn't imagine like having to do that. But at some point, you just talk about intrinsic value of animals. You know, like
Dude,
if
it
they're just
sucks,
screaming
man. You ever have to put an
agony.
animal down?
Right.
That shit sucks, man. I had to put one of my cats down one time because it was just. I tried to keep it. It was like 15 years old.
It's like losing a child.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
so you go into the vet. For those of you who've never lost an animal, you go into the vet, and then they take you into a room and they give you a little bell. And then depending, sometimes like if you have a dog, they'll give you like a piece of chocolate to give it, just because like they love chocolate but they can't have it. Anyways, so you go in there and they give you as much time as you need, and then so you're there with your little animal, and then once you're ready to give them up, once you know what I mean, just hit the little bell. The fucking the I call him the Grim Reaper. It's really just the fucking person that works there. They come in and they take your pet and you're crying and you're like, oh no, because it's the last time you're ever gonna see them and shit. But I mean, I don't know. It's
You-
I guess
So how'd your cat taste?
delicious. We fried it. Just kidding.
A little stringy, maybe a little tough.
It was, I had a hair
Little
ball
yarn.
afterwards. No, but it's you kind of have to expect it when you own something that you know for a fact is gonna live less than you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't really prepare for it, but whatever.
Right. And I think it teaches people about morality in their own life too, of like life isn't forever, you know, and especially to like teach kids that too. I think that's
It made me want to treat my next pet a way better, knowing that like, because that was the first time I ever had to deal with any of that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? It was just like, oh shit. You're used to having the pet for a certain amount of time, and now it's not there.
right.
I've already cried over my dog. Like I'll think about when he's gonna pass, and so I'm hoping that by the time he's only 6 now. I'm hoping that by the time it happens, I'll be all cried out, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Spend the time while you got it now, you know. That's what I do with my dog. I was like, I'm buying you all these treats, and I'm gonna take you for long walks now. We gotta soak it up all we can.
You're gonna give it chocolate one day.
No chocolate for Popo.
When it dies, yeah, they literally give you a thing of chocolate. They're like, this is what your dog's always wanted. Here you go.
I already have Harpo's last day picked out too.
Oh, okay.
So my baby girl Harpo, she's 6 years old now. She loves Garrett's popcorn. It's the most Chicago thing about my dog
It's
because
amazing.
when I got her, I was a tour guide for the double-decker buses around the city, and I used to watch tourists just guzzle down Garrett's popcorn all day. And I was like, all the
The
time.
mix, right? The caramel and
mix.
cheese?
Oh,
Yeah.
The Chicago mix, for those who don't know,
Yep.
cheddar and caramel popcorn mixed
Together.
together. It's the fucking
So
best.
good. Now I want some. Damn it.
Man, my mouth's watering again. But Harpo used to get it all the time because people would either like tip me in Garrett's popcorn, or I would just like, I'd
Nice.
just have the craving. I'd go grab it. And I used to come home with like the tin. So she used to just be eating like that cheddar. So on her last day of her life, I'm planning on just getting a big tin of Garrett's popcorn. And we're just going to like chill, maybe like watch
Aw.
the Grinch. I don't know.
Have you seen the videos of those animals? Or it's usually a dog that's like watching The Lion King, the scene where Simba dies and the dogs get all upset. Oh my god, makes me cry.
My dog just watched Scarface.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's another weird thing. Because I learned that like dogs, when they get really sensitive to like fireworks or whatever, and they say to like desensitize them, you play TV for them or you play videos of fireworks. But for whatever reason, I didn't plan on this either. It just happened to be a coinky dink. Is on HBO, I used to just leave HBO on for her, and Scarface always on every time I left. So I'd come home and she'd be sitting there like on the couch. It's like, Daddy, it's the best part. He says the world's a big pussy waiting to get fucked right now. It's the best part. And but no, the popping, she just got super into it, you know. But she'd watch it,
funny.
or even hockey too. She'll follow him with the puck.
I heard this fact. I don't know if it's a fact or not, but apparently reggae music is the most soothing music to play for your dog if you like leave it alone for a long period of time. Just leave it with some reggae music.
interesting.
I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard it somewhere on the internet.
Well, sound is all vibrations,
That's true.
and
So it's probably like a soothing vibration for them.
Yeah.
No, I probably wouldn't leave like any heavy metal playing for them.
I usually just put on Star Trek because that's what I watch when I'm home. So I'm like, this
So it
this
makes
should
them-
make you feel
Make them
better.
feel comfortable.
And how old's your dog now?
He's about 6. He'll be 7. Yeah, he'll be 7 in December.
It's midlife crisis time.
He's already starting to have like joint issues. Like he has trouble going up and down the stairs. And I'm like, you're not that old. But he was backyard bred. Like he's a purebred pit bull according to the breed test or whatever. But he's got some bones in his tail are fused. And my sister is a horse trainer. She has a chiropractor for her horses. So I had her chiropractor examine my dog, and he said, no, he was born that way. It's a genetic defect. And he's like allergic to everything. So he doesn't have great health to begin with.
No. Oh, gotta love the pups. We're getting a lot of comments on here about the pups too. Thank you guys for leaving comments too. We appreciate it. Hannon said, first time I had pork, it made me sick. Pork is actually one of the things that developed Chicago. It most certainly did. Stockyards. Halal meat is treated more humanely. They're not allowed to witness the others dying, etc. That's interesting. I never knew
Ooh.
that about halal. I knew it was like some sort of special thing.
Wait, what? Do
That makes
you guys
sense.
know what makes something halal?
That's what they just said. Halal meat is treated more humanely. They're not allowed to witness others dying. And it's more their cleanliness too. That's interesting.
I think how it's processed too has
Okay.
something to do with it.
I've heard of people saying that as butchers, they're like, you can taste the fear in the cow. And it's like,
So actually, that's true. Working with people close to like farms and stuff, when you kill, for example, like Wagyu beef, for example, the reason it tastes so good is A, they pamper the animal throughout its life, and then B, they make it feel really relaxed right before it dies. They kill them, which apparently transfers onto the taste of the meat. Because if you're like in fear, or like if you're an animal and you're in fear, you get tense, and then when they kill you or they off you or whatever.
Well, the adrenaline and certain like other chemicals can get released during like a extremely fearful episode of whatever. Deer, like a lot of deer taste really gamey because people a lot of times just shoot deer from further away, so they don't always get it right on, so it takes the deer longer to die. And the chemicals that are released when they're feeling fears is part of what gives it a certain flavor.
interesting. I can see the halal thing being also like a karma thing. You know what I mean? Like the idea of giving somebody a last meal derived from like karma of like, I'm playing God, judge, and executioner. I gotta give you like some sort of human right to like make you not haunt me in the afterlife, You gotta do that for cows. What was a chicken want in its last meal?
Worms,
Worms, yeah.
just worms. Instead of the dry shit that they throw out, the seeds and whatever.
Picking seeds off the ground, yeah, it's probably not fun. Heather, if you had a last meal, what would your last meal be?
Cheesecake, because I can't have dairy. And steak, definitely a steak. Probably some mac and cheese, like really, really good mac and cheese, like the kind my mom would make and bake it in the oven. Asparagus. And Long Island iced tea. A
Nice.
good strong one.
Hell yeah.
So then I just fall asleep.
No iced tea, just
Right, it's
just
just-
Long Island.
Those are great. I haven't had one of those in the longest time. And
I haven't had a good one in a long time. I've had a few, but they weren't good.
Right. I got one at the Ren Fair a couple of weeks back, and my girlfriend's like, "Ooh, this is delicious. What's in it?" And I go,
Everything.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
I literally asked the barmaid, and I go, "What is the most ABV?" And she's like, "Ye old Long Island."
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
I'll take-
It's amazing how they can mix all those things and have it not taste like alcohol.
they're so good.
Do you go to Ren Fair often?
I'm a nerd. I'm a total nerd. I love Ren Fair. I'm so into it. I dress up every year.
What do you dress up as?
I'm a dragon slaying elf.
Nice.
Yeah, so I have. I wore the hat last episode.
Sword
actually.
or bow?
I do.
Or both?
Well, I have a sword. I have a fake sword. I'm kind of a hoarder too. Not really a hoarder, but I'm a collector. I was on Facebook Marketplace, and the Joffrey Ballet was getting rid of a bunch of their props. So I got a bunch of like artificial grass turf, and they also had a bunch of swords from the Nutcracker. And
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, dude, I'll take 3
That's
of those.
cool.
So I do sword, but I think I'm more of a bow and arrow type guy. I was really good at it, and I also have like feather tattoos. So I think it just kind of blends in.
Yeah,
a little bit more.
nice.
I don't know.
I'm going to my first Ren Fair next month with
Nice.
some friends.
The,
Yeah, never been.
the one up in Bristol,
Michigan.
Wisconsin? Oh, Michigan.
Michigan.
Fair, very
Yep.
cool. Are you gonna dress up too?
I probably will go as Hexa
Nice.
because I went to C2E2 recently, and I handed out, like, I made these little pamphlets that were kind of like basically a condensed version of the story that the world that Hexa's from, and I like printed it out and folded it up into like my my own little zine and handed them out. So I will probably do that again. I'm also going to. Oh, did I miss it? There's a furry fest, Midwest Fur Fest. I was gonna go because I like the antlers, and I like anytime I put them on, I don't want to take them off. So I figure I'm like kind of a furry, and I want to go meet other people that
What's
like
a
animal
furry?
things. It's the people that dress up in like the big fur suit costumes, and some of them will actually pretend to be those kinds of animals. That's
There's a
about
lot
as
of
much as
furries
I know
at
about
Ren
it.
Fair. There's a lot of
I
furries
bet.
at Ren
I
Fair.
bet. Have you ever seen someone at a Ren Fair in a Star Trek costume pretending to be time travelers?
Yes. It's the best.
That's my other option because I have the Uhura dress, like just the red, Star Trek dress. So I could go as someone from Starfleet if I wanted to.
That's a good one. I've seen people do that. People will play with the time traveler. Yeah, they'll do Star Trek. I've seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I've even seen people do Rick and Morty. I
Nice.
see a lot of Rick and Mortys, a lot of Pickle Ricks.
That's
at Ren Fair. Yeah. They're my kind of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
It's silly. But I have some friends that like work in that industry, so they always tell me like, "Oh, go see this act or go see that act." But most I'm working in costume design and stuff like that, so more costume collecting, I guess. But I love the group aspect of it. I've gone to a handful of the different weekends. I've gone to Pirate Weekend, Steampunk Weekend is awesome. I love
Oh
Steampunk
yeah,
Weekend.
I bet that's cool.
I didn't think I would be that into steampunk until I went to one of the events, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool.
So what do you do when you go to Ren Fair? Are there like performances? Are there celebrities or?
So when you get there, get a map. Go to guest services, get a map. They'll show you, the lay of the land. But then on the backside, well, I'm assuming each one does it a bit different. But they'll have like a schedule of all the entertainment going on throughout the day, and ask guest services, hey, I'm into this, I'm into that. What would you suggest? And I've had people literally draw out on the map where you should go, and you follow the map as the quest throughout the day.
Oh, that's fun.
And you keep track of time and everything, and you go see everything. But also too, having like no plans is fun plans too, because you can kind of just walk around and see stuff. I like the costume design, so if they do like costume competitions,
Yeah.
I'm a part of that. This past weekend, this last Ren Fair I was at was Cottagecore weekend, which are you familiar with Cottagecore? You would
hell is
like it.
that?
It's fun. These folks dress up with like mushroom heads. So they have like giant mushroom heads that look like big sombreros, and then they like dress like Toad from like Mario Party. And then they carry on like large flowers and stuff like that. And I was like, this is so cool. I love this. And a lot of Ren Fairs will do like private meetups or whatever, and they're like, hey, we're gonna have like a toadstool meetup and like in Geppetto's lantern field or whatever, and you got to go find it throughout the day. I like that kind of stuff. It's kind of
That's
fun.
fun.
Kind of the disassociation for me is a lot
But
of fun.
are there people that perform things what's the actual
yeah.
entertainment?
There
part
are
of it?
full-on stages there. There will be a handful of stages, and there's entertainments of different varieties. You got clowns, you got acrobats, you have like,
Really?
comedians. People who are into like Dungeons and Dragons, they'll do like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign on stage. I've seen sword swallowers, whip crackers, and one of the best, just while I'm on the topic, shout out to Tiny Girl Big Show, Leah Orleans, one of the coolest performers I've ever seen. And most shows that I've been to, she does circus, she does acrobatic stuff, she does bow and arrows. She did this trick where she was like laying down on her like forearms and then like
with her feet? Was she doing the feet? Oh, wow.
She shot in a bow and arrow with her feet.
Was she on America's Got Talent?
Thing. I'm sure she was. She's
That's
got
cool.
talent.
That's cool.
She's incredible to check out. Tiny Girl Big Show. If you guys get a chance, check them out. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, check out. I would talk to the folks that work there too, because they'll have good insight. One of the first things I ever did at Ren Fair, our buddy Dano and Julius, who were with the first Hawk Wins episode that we did. Dan's an elf. Julius is a Santa ambassador, we'll say. And
ambassador.
and he puts the ass in ambassador, we'll say. The nice ass, though. It was so cool knowing those guys going into it because they were in charge of the pub crawl. And the pub crawl was fun because you pay an extra fee and they will kind of be your tour guides throughout the whole entire Ren Fair. And they'll show you around, they'll show you the lay of the land, and they'll, this is this stage at this time, go check out this performer. And, while you're here, grab some horns while you're here. And they'll kind of show you everything. And I'm sure most Ren Fairs do it differently, but at this Ren Fair, you would like this, man. They do this rule where the entire time you're just telling jokes, like you're just hearing and telling jokes the whole time. And if you yell out to the entire bar crawl and you go, "Hail bar crawl," everyone goes, "Hail yeah." And you have to step to the side and like tell your best joke. And then you get to cut to the front of the pub line. So you don't have to wait in line for your mead or your beer. And it's fun. I mean, I was just like ripping off old Willie Nelson jokes, doing like, "What happens when you give the king Viagra? He gets taller! Ah, huzzah!"
Oh my gosh.
It's fun though. You get some fun stuff. But yeah, if they do some sort of tour thing, I would suggest it. Pack a lunch,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good because some of the lines get long. Although, eat a whole turkey leg, though. I had a turkey leg for
I was
the
going to
first
say,
time.
you almost forgot the most important thing about
turkey.
the Renaissance Fair.
It's the best.
It's the turkey leg.
And I was like hard buzzing after I was eating my turkey leg. And just when you're like already that messy, it's the best. It's so good.
Yeah, you gotta save that for the end of the day, though.
Right.
You got the tryptophan. Is that what it's called?
Tryptophan?
There's a chemical in turkey that makes you sleepy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You get the itis.
The itis. The itis chemical. Get that itis. I can't huzzah anymore. Oh, man.
Sorry.
Were there any other questions or any other topics that we wanted to talk about while we had you in store?
I would like to mention my friend's podcast.
Oh,
it's
yeah,
called
please.
Trektivism, and it's Trekkies coming together for good. So Trek, like Star Trek, but Trektivism is what it's called.
And also, too, I see Lambda Quadrant?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to put that in there.
Podcast?
Lambda Quadrant is a queer focus group, and it's like all Star Trek people. So they had a couple panels in Vegas this year that were really, really good. They talked about, like, one of them was, what if it had been a queer person? So they went through a bunch of scenes in Star Trek and like how they might have been different if there was a queer person. And then they talked about like a lot of the actual queer representation in Star Trek, which it wasn't really until Discovery came out that they had any like overt, obvious queer representation. But there have been a lot of things that were coded queer. They just didn't say it.
Beam Me Up's got a whole new meaning now.
But like Odo in Deep Space Nine
yeah.
is an allegory for being trans, obviously, because they go into different bodies. It's part of what their species does.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
That's sometimes a cool way to explain that to folks too, to kind of branch out, through a sci-fi thing like that. What's your favorite part about Star Trek that most fans might overlook, or maybe if some people aren't fans, what would you think is the best part about it?
Honestly, just the community and like the Federation values. I mean, like Gene Roddenberry's, vision for Star Trek was this somewhat utopian, all very inclusive environment where humanity has set aside our little prejudices, and we've eliminated war, and we've eliminated, disease and famine and poverty. And we're obviously a very, very long ways away from that. But getting together with Star Trek people, you can see those values in action, and like you see people living them in their real day-to-day lives, and that's the hope for the future. It's definitely the biggest part of Star Trek for, I think, most people that are fans of Star Trek. But then there's just the community itself. Like, a lot of people go to conventions just to hang out with their friends, like their Star Trek friends. Like, even if you're not a Trekkie, you could go to a convention and still have a good time because the people are so awesome.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of people watching at a lot of these conventions. It's the best part. It's really a reassuring thing when you like, because I'll show up to whatever, I'll go to like horror conventions or run fairs or wherever it may be, and there's always that anxiety when you're like in the car and you're like, oh man, what if I get out there and everyone's gonna laugh at my tights, or like, and then you step out and then you're
everybody's
into
weird.
It. Yeah, and you're like, this is good. This is good. I'm glad I dressed up. And then the people who don't dress up, you're like, oh, you're missing out, dude. This is a weird one. Yeah, this is fun. I'm people's champ right now, dude.
Yeah, it's really fun to see people in like the Starfleet uniforms or like all the alien costumes, and you can almost pretend that you're in the future because of everything going on around you. And then there's people that do like adjacent fandoms. Like there was a Matrix cosplay meetup. There were some Star Wars people. There were some Battlestar Galactica. Like people just show up and whatever, all kinds of sci-fi stuff.
Hell yeah!
Everybody's welcome.
Oh, that's a good community to be a part of then. Oh. Well, what
Sorry
do you guys?
about that.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's been a long week.
Yeah, you just
already
got back from Vegas. Did you gamble at all in
No.
Vegas? You see any shows?
Nope.
Do
all
any buffets?
Convention.
Just convention?
Yep.
All convention?
I didn't even leave the like resort complex except to go to the pool the last day.
There you go. What hotel were you at?
The Rio.
The Rio, nice.
Yeah, so they have a convention center there. That's where the Trek convention's been last couple of years.
Vegas, baby.
I kind of want to go back to Vegas sometime to do the actual Vegas stuff, but I don't want to spend the time while I'm there for the convention, so it would have to be some other time, and I'm not really that motivated, so it may never happen.
There's a lot to see there. There's a whole lot to see.
You ever been to Vegas, Jack?
I've been to Vegas once before, and I would like to go back and like kind of do it again because I would do it a bit different. I walked from like the bottom. I stayed at the Tropicana, which is no longer there. Did the whole Vegas Strip, and then walked all the way to like Old Vegas too, which was really cool. If I was to do it again, I would do like a double-decker bus ride throughout the city. That way, you kind of just get to see all the lights and sounds and everything. You get picturesque views, like people who work in tourism there telling you what to do or what you should go see. But the shows were really cool. I saw the Beatles Love show by Cirque du Soleil, and I don't like openly weep in public very often, but
I openly weep at like a laundry commercial.
I mean the Downy Bear, he's just trying to make everything a little more soft.
It just happens.
The Charmin Ultra Bear just wanted my bum to be a little bit more soft.
Just no dingleberries. You want a dingleberry world. Dingleberry free world.
Man, it was like 112 though when we were there.
Yeah.
So that's another reason that I don't want to stay anywhere else. I want to stay where the convention is, because even just stepping outside to catch a cab, like, it feels suffocating.
Right. And it gets really cold there too. I was there in the polar opposite. I was there in like February and it was wicked cold.
It's higher elevation, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. It was like low 40s when I was there. It was pretty bitter. But the pools are sweet though. I would like to go back in the summer just to like, I want to play some blackjack in a pool. You know what I mean?
What?
I'm a blackjack king. I love blackjack.
In a pool? That's
I'm like
fun.
fucking Rain
It's
Man
even better than
around
the
there.
swim up bar.
Well, it is a swim up bar. It's that with
Oh,
you know,
but with like
blackjack.
gambling stuff?
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I don't really like any gambling though. Like I don't like the risk, and I don't feel like, yeah, no, gambling's not for me.
You gotta do your homework.
I would go for some shows though. What is it?
Carrot Top.
No. There's one card game where I figured this out, that if you just start with a small pot or whatever it's called, and you just bet the minimum every time, you're guaranteed to win big after like hour and a half or something because of the statistics. I want
Baccarat? Not Baccarat.
I don't know. It's a card game. I mean, you have to have like a few $100, but like you will win eventually if you stick around long enough. I don't remember what it was though.
It's Viva Lost Wages is what they call it. I don't think there's a whole lot of statistic to a lot of it. House always wins every time.
I had a friend that could count cards, and they would go to Vegas every so often to, they would just win every game. But one day, so they would have a strategy where they would win just enough, and then they would leave. But one day they got so drunk that they were just like, fuck it, I'm going to win every game. And they ended up racking up ended up winning like 14 grand or whatever. But right before doing that, because they kind of caught on because like this person was kind of drunk winning every single game. They pretty much just didn't let them win anything. They're just like, yeah, no, we caught you cheating, blah, blah, blah. You owe us 14 grand, the 14 grand that you just won.
Damn.
That's the thing. It's like you can count cards, but how do you prove that someone's actually counting cards? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I guess if you win like 12 games in a row, they're kind of going to say something.
Yeah.
But if you have that mental ability, shouldn't you be allowed to use it?
Yeah, dog.
Yes, you should be, but it's Vegas.
Like single deck blackjack, it's pretty easy to like count cards in like single or double deck, meaning the two stacks of the deck, because then it's you can kind of count out where the face cards are at. But sometimes if you're just in that zone though, like you can just know it. You know what I mean? Last time maybe not the last time I played blackjack, 2 times previous. Daddy got the Rain Man suite. I was up like $900 at one point after putting in like 20. Yeah, dude, I was crushing it.
Fucking let's go.
Well, actually, that's what I walked away with. But you just got to play the fundamentals, though. You know what I mean? Of like knowing what.
How much do you pay attention to the other players?
How much should I
Pay attention to them. Yeah, is that part of the strategy, or
I think
because
so,
I can't
yeah.
read people for shit. So if that would never work for me.
You just see what they have though, because if you have a face card which is worth 10, you just acknowledge the face card, and you know when it's kind of like how many are out there. So if there hasn't been a face card in a while, you're kind of like due for a face card then. And I always imagine that any card that the dealer has that's face down, just always assume it's a 10.
So it's not like poker where you're trying to see what the other people are going to do.
Yeah,
to
which
determine
is you
your
against
next
the
move.
dealer.
Ah.
It's you against the dealer, which is nice. And it's a bit quicker then too. You know what I mean? Like you can run up a couple $100 pretty quickly. Scared money don't make money, dog.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
That's true in a lot of things.
Yep.
Like being an independent musician, you have to invest in yourself if you want to get anywhere.
It's true.
You cannot rely on having a big break or getting lucky or whatever. Like you got to put the work in.
Absolutely. Do you have any big projects coming up that you'd like to pitch?
I'm just mostly focused on getting this journal out in people's hands, and trying to build up community, like within other autistic people. I mean, I'm working on the full-length album, but it's a long ways away. It's a long ways away. So I've got some vocals that I need to record for other people. So that's really what I am probably going to focus on now, because I need to get that shit off my plate.
That's good. Well, we wish you nothing but the best of luck. You know, it's you got
Thank
a
you
good
so much
head
for
on your
having me.
shoulder. Absolutely, absolutely. You know, we were really blown away listening to your music and getting ready for your show here.
Thanks.
It's really cool and it's very unique and there's not a whole lot of folks out there doing it like you're doing it. So
Yeah, even in like the witch house genre, there a lot of the female vocals are really really high and almost like sound like a squeaky balloon. I'm not really into that. Or there's some screamy like black metal stuff, but there aren't very many melodic singers in witch house, so got my little corner.
Nice.
But yeah, I would love to book more shows. So if anybody out there is booking, hit me up. You'll get a magical experience guaranteed.
oh yeah. Speaking of magic, is there any magics or like spells that like you can do now on the show while we got you here?
Because I don't have any memorized, and usually when I do something, it's a fairly involved process. Because I don't like I customize things, so I'll spend some time researching like what's the deity that I want to bring into this ceremony, what's the moon cycle. I don't even know what the moon cycle is right now. So no.
That would be a
sorry.
whole other episode.
I did not prepare. Sorry.
All right. Well, tune in next week and we'll summon that.
I'll send you a
summon-
how-to. You can do your own magic.
There we go.
We'll summon the man bear pig.
I don't think you want us to like put in requests for like magic spells. Like, I think I'd be like, how do I magically make my dick bigger? Jay's
You
like,
get
"How do
it
I-"
hard.
What?
That's how it works.
How do I grow 4 inches?
Wingardium Leviosa. Ah! Ah!
Nope.
Oh man. Well, Heather,
Awesome.
thank you so much again for joining us today
Thank
at
you.
Hawk Winds. We greatly appreciate it. And for all you listeners out there, thank you for tuning in. Check down in the description. We're going to have all of Heather's information. Check out her music. Check out some of her merch.
And the book.
Check out her book. We've got a lot of really fun stuff coming from her in the future. So stay tuned. Follow her on social media on all platforms. And for all of our commenters out there, thank you for tuning in too. Let's give some of you guys a shout out too. Hanan said cheese curds though. Gotta get the cheese curds when you go to Bristol.
I miss cheese. I miss cheese. I really do.
And your husband said lost $25 at the blackjack machine.
I'm
Well, that's your fault. You go to the machine. You went to the machine. You gotta
never
go to the
gonna win
dealer.
at any machines.
Yeah, they got people to do that for you, right? Don't let the machine win. And then the biggest gambling
The
I'll
Matrix
do.
has you.
Yeah. The red pill or the blue pill, red or black. And then the biggest gambling I do is the crane game, trying to help get some plushies from Hanan. That's great. Oh, well, shout out to you and all your plushies. We love the plushies out there. Well, this is a great episode. Thank you so much again for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And is there any last messages that you want to send out to the world?
Be kind. Just be kind.
Yeah.
That goes a long way.
Good deal.
Live long and prosper.
Ah, there we go.
There we go.
That's
That's
what I
the
was
one.
waiting for. That's what I was waiting for.
Took me a minute to think of it.
Bump, set, and spike. Well, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. It's another beautiful Wednesday night here at Hawk Winds. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for leaving the comments. Jay, you got any last messages you want to send out to the world?
Pretty much what Heather just said. Just be kind to people. Be nice. Give everyone a big smile whenever you can. It'll change somebody's life.
Yeah. You never know what people are going through. So random acts of kindness are a beautiful thing. It doesn't cost you anything to be a nice person and put some good out into the world. What was that reflective spell that you were talking about? If you put something out into the universe, it's going to reflect right back.
Well, you can use that on yourself too. So actually, okay, there is a good one. If you want to amplify positive energy in your life, go stand in a mirror and say, "Love nurtures love," and look at yourself, and all that like positive energy that you're sending to yourself will come back through the mirror and reflect onto you instead of just getting lost.
That's cool.
Nice.
You know, I was reading this thing about how people consider. I know I'm rambling. We gotta get out of here soon. But they were saying that don't look at people as if they're people. I mean, they're people, but when you look at people as bundles of energy, it makes you kind of look at the world a little bit different then, because somebody's energy could be a little bit off, but if you come in with kind energy, their energy is going to change, right off the bat. So be kind. You don't have to wear a mood ring unless you want to. Mood rings are cool. My 6th grade girlfriend loved her mood ring I got her when I was on family vacation. She still talks about it. I'm kidding. Call me. I'm kidding. Well, again, guys, thank you all for joining us here at Hawk Wins. Tune in every Wednesday night, and we got lots in store for you. And stay tuned for our upcoming live event that we got coming on. So live long and prosper, and may the force be with you. And I'm kidding.
None of that. You're fired.
I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Again, thank you all for tuning in. Y'all have a great night.
Peace.